Here.
All right, you ready to go?
Let me take this filter off because it's making us blur. Participants chat. Come on, Marcy, you can figure this out. There it is.
And isn't that I always feel so challenged when I don't use Zoom that often, but obviously more over the past couple of years. There you go.
Now you can see the exercise machine. Oh, well.
It's cool. You exercise. It's all good. Like we were just talking about, it's like there's a big difference between like an active working shop and like something set up for a photo. So you guys are running an active, living, breathing shop.
Yep.
So anyway, welcome to the podcast. Welcome back, Marcy and Alex. Clean Car Detail Ceramic Coat. I don't know if that's your full name.
Custom Detail. But if you look me up on Google, you're saying everything that's on Google. I'm just doing SEO. That's what that's all about. Every word that can match you and get me up there, it's crammed in.
I didn't think it was your full name. I was looking through your Instagram earlier. Okay. So I figured that's what it was, but I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know, but that'd be pretty long for a business card. But that's a great idea. And I feel like you guys' past podcast, and I feel like this podcast is just going to be full of little gems like that. So anyway, welcome back. I can't even remember the last time we did a podcast, but I think I've known you guys 4 or 5 years now. I was trying to think about it.
That sounds right. I've known you longer because, I was like a Jimbo groupie listening to the podcast.
That's right.
But,
That's right.
We met in person, Mobile Tech, the year before it was canceled, I want to say. But it's been a while. I do know I was on here a year and a half ago. It was episode 379.
379. Perfect. So people can just Google Auto Detailing Podcast, episode 379, if they want to hear your previous episodes, because you guys have exponentially grown your business. And it's been awesome. And I appreciate you guys willing to come on and just share tips and tricks and share all that knowledge. And I love how Alex is having to bounce back and forth to talk to customers. So it's awesome. But what's new? Tell us. I know you have a whole list of things you want to get through, so I want to stop talking and I want to let you guys take it away and just share all the goodness that's going on with you guys.
We're super stoked about going to MTE this year. We were disappointed that it got canceled the previous year for COVID, and we look forward to going back to Vegas. And we're excited to see you and many of the ones that we felt like really inspired us to grow our business. I think last time we talked to you, close to about a year and a half before COVID hit, we were still working for dealerships and doing dealer work. And I was working with a mentor, and I asked him the question, at what point do I know I can let go of my dealers? And he wisely said, that's really up to you to figure out, but what I would advise is for you to start looking at your numbers, your hours, how much you're putting into servicing them, and what you're yielding from that. And what I discovered was I was basically working for $1,500 a week and having to always have at least one, if not two people on staff, because we used to do pick up and drop off.
Got it.
And so when I looked at the numbers didn't lie. I said, oh, it's time to shift, let them go. So we cut them loose and haven't looked back. We've gotten to the point where we've been pretty consistent at selling about 3 coatings a week. Past week has been a little different. It fluctuates.
Sure.
But, we've changed our menu a little bit. Our average ticket is somewhere between $300 to $500 on the details.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, I guess the reason why I'm sharing these numbers is because instead of focusing on volume, we've been focusing more on quality. And the next step is, I'll let Marcy take it from here.
Go ahead, because I'm talking specifically about profit first / budgeting accounting. So
Okay.
So Marcy is focusing on different things. She's going to expand our business through new services and acquiring new clientele.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to focus on pre-existing services and pre-existing customers. I really have a passion for that because I feel like your best market is your warm market. I like to sell, and I can do cold calling, and I can sell to a new market customers because I've done it in the past. But I really feel comfortable with schmoozing with, my old clientele. I have a lot of really good clientele, people with a lot of money from Houston that have secondary homes in this area. So, our area is, as you know, a small little town, 16,000 only. The catch is there's a lot of people with estates.
Got it. Okay. And then people with vacation homes too. So you're drawing people in from other bigger areas around you.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. And for people that didn't or haven't listened to the previous episodes, dealerships are where you guys kind of started, right? Alex, you were repainting bumpers at dealerships, right? And that's kind of how you got into the detailing field. So really dealerships were like, not your baby, but that was what you really knew really well, right? So I could only imagine not walking away from that, but having to kind of cut that tie to that was even more difficult because of that's kind of what you knew best, right? Or maybe not knew best, but maybe most comfortable with, right?
Absolutely. We were so comfortable in that arena because we kind of knew how, they operated. We knew all the ins and outs. I mean, we were actually in-house at one point. So we really understand that business.
Right.
At the end of the day, we saw that it wasn't really high yield. It was very scary at first, letting go of a so-called sure thing.
And did you let go of the 2 employees that were helping you do that as well? Or did you keep them on and redirect them to what the detailing?
Yeah, things kind of happened kind of strangely. We had one employee that was with us for a long time, but she never grew into anything other than what we had, using her as. And so she got assimilated into one of the dealerships. They really liked her.
Okay.
So they assimilated her, or she worked for them. And then I had a customer, and we're going to go off on a tangent, but I think
it's totally my favorite. Gives
you hope for when you want something real bad.
So, all kinds of things. We worked with Ivan LaCroix and asked advice from him. We did some consulting with him, and he's a great coach, as you know. And he said, "Hey, why don't you use a temp service?" And we tried that, and we did acquire one employee through that method. But I'll tell you what really worked out for us, and it just kind of fell in our lap, is a customer came to me, and he's a really nice guy. His name is Mark Jensen. He donated a couple of details to the church he was going to. And he says, "Hey, a youth counselor named AJ is going to come and pick up the car from you." He shows up, he's clean cut, he talks. I mean, I was like, man, I said, do you know anybody like you that wants to have a career that in automotive, in detailing? It's not a job I'm offering a career.
Yeah, I like that.
And then he said, "Well, you know what? My girlfriend's brother is looking for something." And so he sends this kid over, sharp as a whip. Why don't you tell him some of the ins and outs of, did he look this up? Or
if I start talking about it, you might get jealous or something. Yeah. During the interview, he gone to the website. He had listened to episode 379 because I have a few podcasts that I've been on buried down on the site. So you have to hunt to find it. It's not like, I need you to book a detail or book a code.
Yeah. Right.
Because the more arrows that you have pointing to your website, the better it makes it. It listened to that already. I about fell out of my chair. And since then, to work for us, I have required reading. I'm Dave Payne at Ramsey.
Okay. Yeah.
So first, you have to, within the first month, read that Total Money Makeover, because my theory is it doesn't matter what I'm paying you. If you don't know how to manage your money, it's never enough. And you're going to think it's my fault. So get under your belt, whether you use it all the way or not, at least you know the principles. And so, just phenomenal. And he's just blown us away. We challenge him hard, and he's every time. So can't say enough good things about him.
To add to what Marcy said, all of us have probably seen this. When employees, when their life is just chaos and they have personal problems, they bring it to work.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So that's the reason why it was so important to start it off right. And, with the money makeover thing. And also he drove up in a black Charger. and the thing was dirty and all swirled up and everything. And I said to him, first of all, I said, you cannot be driving that thing and parking it up front.
Right.
You need to go hide it, park across the street.
Right.
Or start washing your car, because we're we represent clean cars. So
100%.
Dirty car. And I said, if you want to grow, you need to have skin in the game. I will train you as best as I can when we're in production. But honestly, the type of training that I'm going to give you in production is not the greatest. And so if you really want to learn, you're going to take your own time on the weekend and come up and work on your own vehicle and be willing to screw up your own car. And I'll put you on a buffer. I'll have you ceramic coat your own vehicle, and you take the risk on your own vehicle. And then once you do that, then I trust you. Then I'll cut you loose on a customer car.
What a great car to practice on, though, especially if it's already kind of wrecked,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, that's where I started him. And I personally have a coach myself, which is Rich Light. And he continually pushed me. Like about a year ago or a year and a half ago, right before COVID, I went to train with him. And right after I trained with him, I came back and COVID happened. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. I was so excited because he gave me sales training and all of these things. And then I came back and COVID happened. But I kept to the plan. And then to our surprise, that became the best sell period that we've ever had after COVID.
COVID was like a little blip on our radar.
We
had a week where everyone kind of panicked, we slowed down, and then.
I remember Mobile Tech, Mobile Tech, that would have been 2020, I think, right?
Yeah, 2019, 20, yeah, correct.
Yeah, so because I remember flying to Florida, and when I got there, I met up with Ian from Auto Fiber, and he's like, were a lot of people wearing masks on the plane? And I was like, what? Like, I don't know, I guess. I didn't really think about it. And then like a month later, it was like, oh my gosh, like shut down central. But same thing happened with me. It just was like a hockey stick where people just started going berserk with everything. There was like a week or two where it was a little hairy, but after that, it was my biggest headache was trying to keep up on everything, So it sounds like it was kind of the same for you guys too, huh?
Absolutely. And, some of the things that happened, it was just like almost crazy. We had unprecedented rain this whole summer. We had this year we had unprecedented rain. We had a winter storm here. It snowed twice down here.
3 times in the whole week they shut us down.
Yeah.
So we never went into quarantine down here in the South, but when that week happened, it was true quarantine.
Quarantine.
We hated each other. We hated everybody.
Right.
We were you couldn't do nothing but sit there and be cold.
Oh, did you guys lose power or electricity at all?
Yeah, rolling power outages, water, you name it.
Got it. Oh my gosh, crazy.
So
do you think, but you guys were prepared, maybe not for the rolling blackouts, but you guys were prepared and you had been working really hard at putting these kind of systems in place to deal with this kind of up ramp in work, right?
Absolutely.
You were prepared for it. And probably all the SEO and all the other stuff that you were doing just kind of aided in all that, right?
Absolutely. Because, like I mentioned to you, when I came back from training, that hit, and I was like a man on fire. If you came into my shop, I was selling a coating to you.
Got it.
I don't care.
Didn't matter.
Yeah, it's like I ran on a nail, and I'm in your parking lot just trying to figure out what I just ran over. I'm selling ceramic coating. I'm like totally on fire. And
that's awesome.
But what happened? The problem that happened is we started selling, and we started getting this big list, and then we were short-handed at the time, and I don't think we had that employee that we talked to you about yet. And then it took a long time to get him trained.
Yeah.
He's a very good employee. One of the things about him, though, is he's very careful and tentative.
Got it.
So I try to explain to him, like, different jobs is handled differently, like a one-step polish versus a full-on, you know.
Right. Which is a whole different skill set in and of itself, right?
Correct.
Right. Matching the effort based on what the output based on what the customer is buying, right? Which is a big struggle, not just for employees. It sounds like if you're going to wane one way, it's probably better to wane that way, right? Of being more, you know, but still, that's a really hard thing to grasp for a lot of detailers, you know.
I don't like selling one steps.
Right.
I do not like selling one steps, and the reason why, admittedly, it's me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the biggest problem in the whole equation, because I don't have enough discipline to stop at 70% or whatever it is that you accomplish with the one step.
Totally, because you know how much better it could be.
Correct.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and argue that point, because I know there's another side to it. But personally speaking, I know, like, when I have customers come in, I usually sell them on a 2-step minimum.
Love that.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of the Marcy, what you've been wanting to talk about. Let's get into some of that.
Yes, sir. Okay. So first I want to state my intention for what I'm about to present, what I hope that the listeners will take away from it. And that is to give a formula to eliminate money worries and stresses in your business. If I could put that in a pill and you could take it, I think you would take it. A formula to eliminate money worries in your business. And this is all born out of our last episode. I was talking about saving, paying yourself first, and you brought up this book. Backwards thing.
No, I always go the wrong way. It's like, can you see it?
And this was like giving crack to a cocaine addict. Okay, I love it. If I can find a way to organize something, this. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for giving me.
And I heard that from Kevin Davis.
Wow,
he was telling me about it, so I was just the middleman.
It's pretty freaking phenomenal. I already had a grasp on how to do things, but to have something laid out and say, take this money and do this percent, this percent, this percent, this percent. It is the envelope system. So it's
100%, right.
And I don't have to like worry, reason. It's just, no, don't think about it. You receive this much money, start separating it. And then I still largely had, even though I was talking on our last episode or interview about how awesome budgeting is, I still totally walked around with scarcity mindset. And through both this and really feeling like I got our money under control and the coaching that he was talking about, that coach, he put a mirror up to us and showed us, you know, where we were limiting ourselves because of our scarcity thinking. And I mean, in full disclosure, I'm still working through it, but
100%.
Boy, have I, you know, come to a new level that feels so freeing. So you recommended it, and you know what else you did for us? You started the interview and said this is one half of that dynamic duo. So I am wanting to something to serve the other detailing community that are partners, whether it be husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, friends. But whenever there's more than one person running your business, you are inevitably going to have conflict, you know, different ideas, different approaches. And maybe you are on the
especially if there's a quarantine, right?
Absolutely.
don't go there. Don't go there. But even if you're exactly on the same page with your vision and what you want to create out of the business, where you're taking it, you have different communication styles. You have different processes. And so I want to create something that can serve this community. I'm kind of a self-help junkie. Tell me a book I should read. You tell me a course that can help me get my communication better. I have a strong communication style that lands not well with a lot of people. And so I know that I have to give attention to that. But, you know, my first core value is listening to my creator. And he tells us, you know, how to treat people so that they will treat you back, or just how you treat people, period. But even with what I know, I'm still hardwired to do some not productive, not effective thinking. And so that's why I'll turn to a book and each time learn something from it. So from all that, and he'll say, from all the money I've spent on all that, let's do something to help other people with it. So I'm going to have, what's up already is an Instagram account called Dynamic Detailing Duo. I had to put an extra name in there because Detailing Duo is already taken, even though it's inactive. There's nothing going on. I messaged that person and said, can I have it? No. They didn't say no, they're not even on,
Just never responded, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. I got my notes here, so excuse me if I...
You know what? You made a great point that I want to touch on, though, and kind of it echoes what Alex was talking about earlier, when you're running through the numbers and then you realize something that doesn't work. But then I could see how important it is to have kind of two people looking at the same thing, but looking at it from two different aspects. If you guys look at that, right, and then you realize, wait, that's not really profitable, or that's not really worth it, right? But you are working your way out of this scarcity mindset. You're not afraid to kind of walk away from that, right? And the less scared you could be, the better. And the way to not have the scarcity is, for most people, is to have money or a money plan, right? So what you talked about, your intentions for this whole podcast of having a formula to eliminate the money worries is going to help with your scarcity. But then it's also self-fulfilling if you're getting rid of the work that's not profitable and transitioning to profitable work. That kind of is a big self-fulfilling circle that, is almost like a snowball. Maybe you guys are still traumatized by snow, but a snowball rolling down the hill, right? That just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it keeps self-fulfilling, and it's really, really great and really important. And then you have more confidence, I would assume, Alex, to sell the two-step coatings, because you want the work, but it's like, well, I got other work too. So I'm not solely dependent upon selling this detail, right? So then you come off more confident to the customer, who's like, wow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. Like, I guess, like, you're the expert. I guess I'll listen to you. So then you sell more two-step correction and coding. You know what I mean? It's like, becomes this whole thing, but it's really difficult to get out of that initial stage. Do you have any tips for people that are still in that initial stage? Anything that you did? Maybe it's a book that you read, or is it just like ripping the Band-Aid? Did you just have to look at the numbers and say, you know what, the dealership isn't profitable. I'm way more profitable doing other things. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid once and for all. Or was that it, going through and looking at the numbers and kind of putting it black and white of like, this doesn't make sense. Why am I even doing this?
No, I'd like to answer that. A lot of times, all of us, we feel pain, whether it's physical or emotional or anything. We want to just do something just to make it go away, distract ourselves. And so the one thing that we, as a business owner, you really have to be okay with is, if you had a sucky sales day, sales week, sales month, really stay there and look at it and feel the pain. Mm-hmm. And then really not rush through it, and then make an action plan. She taught me this. You need to put things in writing, and we did. Because you have to have an intention and do everything early. Do it early in the day, early in the week, early in the month, because I'm a huge procrastinator. And one of the things that we were thanking you on was some of the mindsets that you helped us with in this profit first. One of the things that we saw is it's not so much how much money we're making, but it's how much we're keeping, but not only just the profit, but the quality of life. Mm-hmm. To answer your question, the one thing that really motivated me is I'm like, man, I'm giving more time to, my job than my family. Mm-hmm. And that really hurt, to look at it, to really think about the consequences of our decisions. And for us to undersell and not charge enough for our work, what does that really mean? Mm-hmm. It's not just the money, right? It's way beyond that. And so, if you're saying advice to someone, I would say really look at that, because we have customers that come in now. We don't post pictures on dirty details. Do we still do dirty details? Yes. For customers that are really good customers, then, they're a return customer. But we do not push dirty details. And when people come in with dirty cars, we actually refer them to other shops. We've become a clean shop. Like, we take on clean work. And go ahead.
I love it.
So since we last talked, I got trained and I do PPF now. And
wow.
Yeah, like I've done fancy cars, and
that's awesome.
That's huge. That's
huge.
Because I usually don't believe in myself, so it's really huge that I went ahead and did it. He's got something.
Got it. Congratulations.
I'm gonna wrap up what I'm saying. So
yeah.
What I said is really stay in that place that this really sucks. And what I mean by that is, let me talk directly to these detailers.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it feels when you go into a car where you know that's going to be a minimum turnaround because these people have just neglected this car. You're pulling out dog hair, sand, you're doing air hose, you're doing
candy wrappers,
rubber, whatever you call it, brushes, and you name it, pumice stones, you're doing everything. And then you hand the car back to the customer and they're like, and they're nitpicking.
Like, let me sock you in the face real quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Than this.
Yeah.
They're
nitpicking on things that you can't even turn around.
Right.
What I'm saying is stay in that. Those days that you get kicked and,
Yeah.
Feel it, feel the pain, and then come up with an action plan and have that motivate, just like the Waterboy movie, Texan fuel. You gotta not just go past those moments. You got to stay in it and go, man, this really sucks. How do I become the operator, whether you're mobile or shop, where I don't have to deal with that? Let that be some other guy's problem.
Yep. Yeah, totally. I love that.
Same question.
Say that again.
I'm going to answer the same question.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, the numbers speak to you. The numbers will tell you.
Okay.
When we get that one job on a coding job equaled 10 dirty cars. And what else?
Like,
and we're not busy working on Saturday
right.
And like there were times when we don't have employees and it's just the two of us and we're able to handle it. We're still making the same numbers and we're free on Saturday because we didn't have like layover. And thankful, everybody, whatever phase you're at in your life, I am thankful for the dealerships while we had them.
Sure.
But there is a level of
but you can be thankful for it and you could be grateful for that and not have to stay there. Right. Yes. So because I look at it as like just steps. Right. So you're constantly just trying to get to the next step. And sometimes you got to do the dealership work. Sometimes you got to do the dirty cars. And those really, it's just another step. It's just another rung in the ladder that you're trying to climb,
Correct.
So I like that. Keep going. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. No, I'm a numbers girl. The numbers spoke to us. We could make more doing less work and with less employees. Hello.
I wish so many, I really hope that detailers listening to this look at that, because I get so frustrated, and you guys will probably resonate with this because Ivan is constantly talking about it, but like these detailers that, or at least he used to, detailers that are booked out months or weeks or whatever. And he used to joke, like, I get worried if I'm booked out more than 4 hours or 8 hours or whatever. And it's like, if more detailers, I see these guys, burning the midnight oil up till 2 a.m. and got to be back here at 5. And I'm like, and then a couple months down the line, you see them and they're like in the hospital. And it's like, guys, what the heck? Like, if you're really that busy and you're really booked out that long, why don't you just raise your price? Like, you can, enter in some quality of life in here, which it seems like you guys did, of like, hey, we could take Saturdays off. Like, what does that mean for our family? That means we can go on vacation. That means we could just hang out and do nothing. That's it. It adds a big quality of life element into it. So, yes, sir.
Make a comment.
Yeah.
I'm a big history buff and also nature buff. Like, I watch these nature shows, and the largest mammal, as you know, is a blue whale, right? That's one of the largest creatures that we have on the earth.
Are you familiar with the megalodon then?
Yeah, I'm talking about stuff that's still alive. Oh, you're talking about the supercar. So the point I was getting across with the blue whale is that they eat very small things like krill.
Okay.
Super abundant source. In our town, we don't have exotics. No, we don't have a lot of cars. Okay. And even high-line cars, there are some, not a whole lot. We do a lot of trucks. We do a lot of daily drivers.
Okay.
So instead of targeting a certain kind of car, we're targeting a certain kind of customer, a certain mindset.
Yep.
And when we social media posts, sometimes we just do for fun so that people can kind of oh, they're nice people, they're normal people.
Sure.
But usually we have a message. And the message that we have in our social media posts is we're looking for people who care and love their vehicles and believe in the adage of an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. So it's more of a mindset.
Got it.
We look for customers that take responsibility, that have skin in the game. Not someone that comes in and say, I want to put ceramic coating on it and it better protect me from everything. Put fuel around my car.
Totally.
We've had those and they just don't end well.
Right.
So really, we visualize the kind of customer we want. And since we have a clear vision of the kind of customer we want, we're getting more of it.
Love that. Love that. Because everything, yes, love it.
All right. Am I clear to talk about profit first?
Marcy thought this was going to be her podcast, and me and Alex are like, tell me more. Marcy's like, me, how about me? Pick me. Go ahead, Marcy, your turn.
Okay. First, I want to give a disclaimer in case you get disinterested or in case you just.
I won't hold it against you if you're listening to this podcast and then you're like, what the heck is she talking about? I'm out. I was in the room with Mike Michalowicz at SEMA. Yeah, you told me the book. Didn't even occur to me. I'd already read the book. It was like months after applying. I went, wait a minute. Didn't I? And so I went and I looked up on the internet, the roster for who was presenting. I walked out. So this can seem boring or this here's what I'm listening to him. And I think he was probably going through all the profit allocations or whatever, the taps and all that. And I was like, dude, you don't even get it. I don't have profits. Like that was my mindset. Like, how the heck am I going to put this and this and this and this when I don't even have it? And I walked out. So my loss, but it kept coming to me. So that being said, all right, give it a chance because I swear to you, if you're kind of disinterested, there's good stuff here. So first we'll define what profit is. Or profit first. And profit first is an accounting system that works with our natural wiring of relating to money and leaves us with more than enough for every expense category. So what's our natural wiring? Well, have you ever decided to make a purchase or, you need to buy something big for your shop? So what do? You click, Wells Fargo or whoever, you open your account and you go, oh, what do I have in there? And that number that you're looking at tells you, yes, I can do this, or wow, it's going to take me about maybe 6 weeks out and then I can get it. Have you?
Yeah. No, totally. Yep.
Okay. That's how we're wired. Or have you ever wondered, boy, I've been so busy. I haven't even kept up with my stuff. I know Square is dropping money in, but how did I do this week? And you open up your account and that's going to be your measurement of success. To go, oh, dang, I thought I did better than that. Or, oh, man, I killed it. There's 2,000 more than I thought I had this week.
Yep, 100%.
We are hardwired to look at that number and then work with that number. But here's the trap with that. It's so easy. Let's say you open it up. Oh, it looks beautiful. Great. I can go get that Swiss Trax flooring. It's a big expense, but I'm sitting there looking at 6 and this is going to cost me 3. You purchased it, you pull the trigger, and then in comes this bill that you knew was coming, but you forgot or you chose to forget. And now, and by the way, it's time to pay rent. And by the way, it's also quarterly tax time. You're in trouble.
Good times.
So
as Alex would say, just sit in that for a minute and and then you can ponder what to do after.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah. So this method works with our way of wanting to look at one number and make a choice or decision based on that. And so the fundamentals are basically exactly like that envelope system. If you're familiar with Dave Ramsey, he says, put your grocery money in here, your clothing money, your gas money, it's all in an envelope. But we don't have that in it with your bank. You know, you have your checking, maybe you have your savings, and and if you were like me, so whatever I put in savings, about a month later, I was transferring it back up because I had to pay something.
I know all that too well too.
So it has you create 5 envelopes, but these envelopes are bank accounts. And each bank account is, see, I wrote it down so I wouldn't go brain freeze here. Your income, profit, tax, owner's pay, and operating expense. And a very easy way to look at these or to figure it out is, I think of like serving food. The principle here behind Profit First is, instead of eating from one huge plate, you got small plates in front of you, because the bigger your plate, the more like you're gonna eat it. If you're talking, you're whatever. We're taught to clean our plates, right? So you take whatever money comes in and you start like from a big casserole dish, and you start dividing it up. Hey, here's a little bit here, and you could think of it like whatever, like proteins or desserts, and what should you eat first? It works like that. So 1, small plates, which is your individual bank accounts. 2, save sequentially. So I believe he says, I don't know if it's the 1st to the 15th or the 10th to the 25th, take all your earnings that you receive your money, you dump it into your income account. That's your big casserole dish. And it just sits there. Then on the 10th, 10th and 25th, start dividing it up. Now, how much do you send to each envelope or each plate? That's going to depend on how big your business is. So it's very logical when you read the book, and he tells you, and here's what blew our minds when we did it. We are probably, I think we're still in the first category, or we just bumped out of it. Yeah, we've just bumped out of it. And so he says 50% of the money that you have gross billed for the month is your take home. So I'm using a round number. If you did 10,000, you need to be paying yourself 5,000.
And that goes into your profit or your owner's pay.
So that's you, the owner, because the fact is, for us, when I started this, we got a double income pay for what I had been paying us. And let me tell you something else, Jimbo. I am not using his exact percentages. And the reason why, is because we live here at this place. I get to pay myself an income source of rent that turns around and pays the mortgage. So that gave me a little bit of freedom to give more to operating expense. And still we took home 50% more.
It's awesome. It's incredible.
Now, is it easy? You know the answer.
Right. Never is.
In the beginning, it's not easy. There is some work involved, but name something that's worth it that isn't
100%
in the setup. So one, there's, I had to drag him to all the banks because, he's the man. Because his name is on all the legal documents. And we had to go open up all these accounts. And I know some of you are listening to this right now, and you're like, what in the world? I have better things to do. How could opening up a bunch of bank accounts make a difference in my world? It does. It does.
Would you like to double your income?
Would you like to double your income? Oh, that's only the start of it. That's only the first start of it that you will see. Wow. So you then he has you take a certain percentage. Let's say you make 10,000. And I believe he says I just reread some of the book last night, and he says put 5% in your profit. Okay. So I can't do my math fast.
And that just kind of builds up as like your emergency fund, I guess, would be the equivalent of that. Okay.
That is correct, with one caveat. Every quarter, whatever that number has accumulated to, you skim off 50% of it. And it's a quarterly bonus for you.
Got it. Okay.
Now, with that money, you are not supposed to go and put it back into your business, because then you just kind of defeated the purpose. You are supposed to go and enjoy it. There is also one caveat with that. Some of us have debt. So if you start this out and you're in debt, his principle is just stop using your card. Don't use it anymore. Everything's got to be debited or written a check. and then all of that quarterly profit draw, then take yourself out to dinner, do something. He said, you must do something. You have to have something significant, some celebration for your hard work that you've done. And outside of that meal or whatever, flowers you bought yourself, because I know all you male detailers love to buy yourself flowers.
We do.
Then the rest of that does go to your credit card. And you might think like, well, that's going to take forever. Yeah, well, you were already in a hamster wheel.
Right.
So it works. We came to a new level of life. I don't know a better word for it. Freedom. And so he had a relationship before where he would think about some new thing he wanted to do. And I'd be like, scarcity mindset. You gotta be killing me, Smalls. Really? You want to spend more when I haven't even paid off the last, or I'm barely making it. But that was more up here than anyway. That was what it was.
Yeah.
Now he'd say like, when we have some money, we need to da 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 da. And I'd be like, what do you mean when we have some money? What do you want to do? I've got it. Yeah, that's going to impress customers when they come. Let's do it. Wow, that's huge.
And then it totally feeds into the whole animal of if you can, impress a customer more, you can charge more. It's like, again, I'm totally into that, like growing the snowball down the hill. It's like you start looking at decisions as investments, not as cost, right? It's like, that's not going to cost us money. We're going to invest that amount of money because we know we're going to see a return on that. And now you're in a position to be able to do that.
Correct.
Love it.
Exactly.
Love it.
So let's see where I'm at. Okay. So you told me the book. We recorded this podcast, the other last podcast. That was about 18 months ago. Since then, so here's the proof. Does it work? Since then, we have upgraded our shop. We added Swiss tracks. That was almost $5,000 to do the whole thing.
Not cheap.
Yeah. Oh, hey, tip to anybody.
How did you pay for that? Credit card? Swiss tracks?
No, I just paid it
outright.
We added on to our building, so we have a little bit more structure for all the stuff that how you said you have that extra. Yeah, well, everybody has that. All that.
It's just over there.
Our working space totally clean, not just like clean.
100%. Yes.
No clutter, clean. Yeah.
Yes. I would even add to that. And we were talking before we started recording of like making sure you have, for me, what's important is making sure that not only is my space clean, but that I'm like inspired by stuff in that room so that I want to go there and I want to come to my shop. And when I get there, I'm like inspired to do work, or there's things that I look at that trigger, I have like all these triggers around me that trigger either creative work or ideas or whatever. And you hear all those ideas that I was talking to before we started recording that. I'm like, oh my gosh, it just went snowballed down this like, anyway, keep going.
So that was almost $7,000. And we added concrete just to make our wash area even better. We were just extending it, whatever. That was about $5,000. That was a super steel deal. So we got a lot of concrete for $5,000. And almost forgot, we painted our building.
Wow.
That was, I can't remember, $3,000 or $4,000. And Alex,
you did all this within the last year or since the past 18 months? Wow.
Yep. I'm telling you, listen up, anybody. The money just starts to accumulate. Money likes a purpose. So when you give it a purpose and you say, go here, go here, go here, it does it. And so Alex kept saying he was going to paint the building to save money. I was like, no, you're not. He used to be a painter when we first started dating. He was a painter. I said, no, your time is better spent with a buffer behind a buffer making us money. Let me go hire somebody who all they do is, and so we're both learning that. What is my time worth? I have someone cleaning the house right now. I could clean the house. She does a better job, but she can't record a podcast. Figure out where your time is best spent so you're getting the maximum return on it. And we just got back from the best vacation we've ever taken. Wow. That was also a quarterly draw.
Where'd you go?
Where did we go? Destin. Yeah, a week in Destin.
Perfect.
And you know what I did? I did nothing. And it was wonderful.
Me and my wife are about to go on our anniversary trip. And I'm like, so what do you want to do? She's like, nothing. I want to be taken care of, and I want to do nothing. We're not going with the kids. It's like, I'm like, that sounds good to me. We're just going to hang out and do nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't, but that's my own problem, but that's fine.
You gotta do nothing too.
I don't want to do nothing.
You'll be you. You'll be you.
Yeah.
So
that's a whole nother podcast. Yeah.
Okay. Inside the book, then it also, once you got what those basic accounts we just talked about, and I know I didn't tell you all the percentages, but you know, if this sounds good to you, you got to have some skin.
Well, people got to, 100%. I was just going to say skin in the game. That's a good way to put it. Right. Yeah. We could lay out, you're laying out much more than people even, not that they need, but like you're laying out the proof, right? And you're laying out, hey, this is what you could do. You're showing everyone, and they're going to have to go out, read the book, and actually implement it too. But yeah, correct. Love this.
So I've got those down. I actually have opened one more account, and I probably have at least another one. And I know it sounds crazy, all these accounts, but they just work psychologically. When you read the book, it'll
totally.
Why? And so we opened a tip fund, so that, because you get great tips through Square, but then I absorb them because I'll spend them. So now I can, Square will give you, or whatever program you use, you, here's how much tips you collected this week. Boom, I transfer it over.
That's a great idea.
And it's an awesome slush fund. My guy, he loves these drinks. I live in a small town, no stores carry them. So from the tip fund, I just order them off Amazon, and he's got what he loves.
Love that.
My lady, she is like, her DNA is made up of Dr. Pepper. So she has constant supply of Dr. Pepper. And then we also use it. So we divvy it up. And then we also use it for trips for us, both team building and or training. And so that brings up, I don't know how soon this podcast is coming out. I can't imagine it's coming out like before Thursday, but we are going to Mobile Tech Expo, and hotel, airfare, all that is coming. But no worries. It doesn't even affect us. It's from the tip fund.
Wow. And it's already there, which then goes back to what you guys first started talking about, is your whole purpose of this was, eliminating the money worry. So if you're not worried about it, not only can you go and it's not a big deal, you can enjoy it while you're there. Right. Yeah. And then you come home and everything's set up and you're good to go. You're not out on that trip. And I'm guilty of doing that in the past too. I'm out on a trip and I'm just the whole time I don't want to be there, and I can't enjoy it because all I'm thinking about is, how the heck am I going to pay for this? And then how am I justifying it? And then, oh my gosh, I'm going to be buried in work trying to make up for this. Right. Yeah. So then you can't even enjoy it.
I don't even believe you. You're like, I'm going to make a new podcast on this with a new sponsor. And I'm going to stream it simultaneously, and that'll pay for it all.
That for me, that's where all those thoughts came from, though, is like sitting there being like, dang it, how am I going to pay for this? Like, but again, it kind of, that plays into what Alex talked about, is kind of doing that, after action review, I think is what it's called, of like, whether it's a detail or it's a trip or whatever it is, kind of coming back out of the moment and reflecting on it and being like, what could I do differently next time? Do I like it? Do I not like it? How do I want to get out of it? Blah, 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 And so I think that's important to do too, but this has been phenomenal because you've laid out the groundwork, and it's not just pie in the sky stuff, which a lot of people like to talk about. This is you're actually doing it and living it and breathing it. And you doubled your income, which is
doubled my take home.
I mean, if you get nothing more out of this podcast,
I can invest more. So hey,
then you can invest more. It's like, oh my God, and I would highly encourage people to go back and listen to episode 379 with you guys, and how your home is your shop, and how you guys have kind of integrated that. And there's a whole host of optimizing that you guys did for that. And I think it's a wonderful too, but this is amazing stuff. This is super crucial. And I think it's even more crucial as we see, and we've been seeing kind of the detailing space really be elevated and really come to its own, to where people, the days of kind of, I don't want to say the mom and pop, but like kind of the wild, wild west of it, of kind of just like, getting a trailer or getting this or getting that and kind of a soap in a bucket and some towels. Those days are coming to an end. Or those days of, if you want to actually make a solid living and like Alex said, make this a career and not just kind of like a hobby that makes you money, there's a big separation happening. And it helps with people like you guys doing what you're doing and increasing your profits and then making your shop nicer and all those things. But this divide is really going to be happening of people that are running their detailing shops like actual businesses, and then people that don't care and kind of that are just, or maybe they do care, but they're just not sure how to do all this stuff, that are just kind of running by the day-to-day operations. And that divide is I think ever widening, you know. And people like you guys that have taken this serious and it is a career and you're investing in yourselves and you're investing in your business are able to charge more and make more, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling kind of prophecy in and of itself. So I just want to say thank you guys for taking the time to share, and you know, it's not easy to let other people that you don't know into your life. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to share and stuff too.
Sure. My pleasure. Thanks for letting me come back on.
Of course. And if people want to, you probably don't want people calling you and asking you about this stuff, but if people kind of want to follow along, or maybe you do, and that's up to you guys, but if people want to follow along with you guys on social and all that, how can they do that?
I'd say the best place to follow right now
Is this brand new Instagram account that I made.
Mm-hmm.
It is a dynamic detailing duo, because I'm specifically talking to detailers. And I don't just talk about the things that matter for couples, but just whatever new grain of wisdom that we've learned. You can follow us, a regular one that's at cleancarcustomdetail.com. No, .com. That's my website. Clean Car Custom
That too.
Detail. But you know, that's just me. Really, I don't care so much about vanity metrics on that one,
Sure.
so much as I want my locals to be our followers
100%.
there. And I'm probably not professional enough on that business one, but people know us. We're a small town.
Right.
And so part of what we're selling is not just our detailing services, which we strive to do with excellence, but us as a whole experience. And so
100%.
very personal, you know, I'm probably borderline ridiculous on that one. So if you want some entertainment, yeah, follow that one too. Clean Car Custom Detail.
Love that. And I'll link all that stuff up.
I wanted to
Yeah.
add one thing though. So if all this is resonating with you, then there are some other supports that you can get. I have to say that on YouTube, there is Profit First for Detailers, and I used him. It Will Amstutz, and it's from W&W Auto Detailing. And
yeah. He was on the podcast with his sister. I'm blanking on her name. But they were on the podcast a long time ago.
Okay.
Because
they started about this?
It was not about this. It was just about them detailing. I believe it's a brother and sister. I hope I got that right. I believe I did. But yeah, a long time ago. But it's up there somewhere.
He was using his YouTube videos was integral for me to finally be able to see paper to pen how to take these percentages and make it work.
Got it.
Big shout out to him. He also has a Facebook private group. Yep. I think it's also called Profit First for Detailers. It's pretty quiet. So if any of you guys like this, please join. We need more just liven it up some. And then also, if you're just a book nerd, you're a detailer, but you also really care about improving yourself, there is a Detailers Book Club that's run by Coast HWY. And every month we all vote on a book, read it, and then get back together with main points. And so it's a great accountability.
I got a good book for you too.
Okay, tell me. I'm ready.
Hold on, let me pull it up. I hope I can pronounce the name. Sorry, if you have something else while I pull it up, I'll keep going.
I can talk while you're pulling it up.
Silence.
No awkward silence with me in the room.
I got it actually, but keep going.
When Marcy talked about, you have to have a little discipline in using the system. It is kind of set it and forget it. You have to have a little discipline. Like in the beginning, one of the hardest thing with me is she's like, I broke a tool or something. Okay, here's some duct tape. Or go to Harbor Freight and buy a tool. You're not going to buy the $800 greatest, whatever. So you do have to have some discipline, and you have to work with whatever you've got. Because you only have a set amount of money allocated for tools or whatever. But you know what? So be it. Because once this thing starts to grow, then you have the funds to go buy whatever you want to buy. And then you get to 100%. Pay the most the hardest working employees there are, which is the owners. You know, you wouldn't stop paying an employee money. They wouldn't come and show up for work day in, day out.
Right.
We do that as owners. We feed this business of ours like a little brat. You know, whatever it wants, we give it, and it becomes a monster. He's wrapping up the podcast. Okay, I'm done.
No, I don't. If you got stuff to say, I don't want to cut you short at all.
Okay, I thought we were at the.
No, that's it.
We are at the end, but
while you were finding
no, totally. Usually it's always so funny doing a podcast. Like, I like to chit chat before and after we start recording, but then every time I do, there's always like golden nuggets that happen before or after. So I do try to keep the recording going as long as possible, but that was great.
What's
the book, I'm about halfway through, but it's really good. And I do Audible, but it's called The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, Ravicant, I was actually just going to post it on Instagram today because it's been a really, really good book that I've been enjoying. So
all right, so I'll see you in 18 months after I read this one.
Definitely.
And see what this one does for us.
So anything else? I am going to end the recording here. Is there anything else you guys want to say before I do?
Just that coming up soon. So I'm putting some skin in the game for me. I'm going to launch a podcast soon under that same title, Dynamic Detailing Duo. I have a ton of recordings. And now it's just,
awesome.
Pull the trigger no matter how sleek or whatever it looks.
I would encourage, there's so many bad podcasts I did, and you don't get
good without a lot of practice. So.
And I would argue that I don't get good even with a lot of practice. So.
I want to say one last thing, which is a big heartfelt thank you to you, Jimbo, and many like you. It has just improved our industry. Like, a lot of people have scarcity mindset, and they go, "Oh, someone else is setting shop up here." But from what we've seen, it's only improved our quality of life. I've had a lady that moved in from California, and I asked her, what kind of detail that she had. She actually had a real detailer that charged real money for her, and that helped me out.
Yep, 100%.
I could charge what a real detail is deserving. So all of us,
she saw the value in it.
Yeah, all of us that do good work, when we share with each other and we help each other in this industry, we're helping ourselves.
100%.
So I appreciate what you guys have done, and that's the reason why she's starting to do what she's
doing.
Yeah,
and I encourage it, and I think all ships rise in a high tide, right? So it's like, hey, if we can all help each other and all band together, like, that's a great example of, like, if someone's had a great detail, when they go to either move or whatever, they'll have seen the value in it, and that lays the foundation and the groundwork for the next guy. So that's awesome. And likewise, I appreciate you guys, taking the time to do this. You obviously detail for a living. So an hour or an hour and a half away from that is an hour and a half added to the rest of your day. So I appreciate you guys taking the time and sharing this knowledge, because you definitely don't have to, but it's super, super valuable and super, super important. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
I had a great time. Thanks.